Friday once again.
Hello my fellow freaks and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys have all had a good week. I have wanted to die. If you notice, the setup and perhaps even the audio for this week's video is different than normal. I have had quite a week at work. And I need this to be like a low effort, sit down, lazy, let's just chit chat kind of movie review video. And if this is a day late, so, apologies if maybe my energy isn't all the way there. I do think as I go through with the review, my mood will change. So if this is late, like it probably will be, because work. Thank you for your patience in waiting for this to come out. I'm sorry it's not on time, but I'd rather it be late than just not do one at all. So, and if you could not tell from the introduction, also obviously the title, this week we are looking at Pinocchio 964 from 1991, director Shozen. How do you fucking pronounce that? Fukai? Shojin Fukai? I also don't know exactly how to say the title of this. Is it Pinocchio 964 or is it Pinocchio 964? I've also seen some people use 964 or 964 Pinocchio. It seems like you can just say it any way and it's acceptable. That's the vibe that I'm getting. I think I've only heard about this movie for maybe about 2 weeks. I have never heard about this movie until it got mentioned in a TikTok video. It was one of those slideshow, like, movie recommendation kind of videos of Japanese films, and they broke it down into like genre or category, and in one of the like obscure, weird, maybe even horror, I don't remember exactly what they classified it as, but they listed Pinocchio 964, and I looked at the comments and that seemed to be the only movie suggestion that people were talking about. Was I can't believe you included Pinocchio so casually, threw in Pinocchio 964. People were freaking out about it. I've never heard of this movie. So obviously I have to see what the comments are talking about. I have to watch this movie. I have to, okay. You've intrigued me. I did do just a very brief overview of this movie before going into it, and mostly what I was kind of getting from it were the cyberpunk vibes. Maybe it would include a little bit of sexploitation, and it also seemed like maybe it would remind me of Tetsuo Iron Man, and by the way, it does. I'm sorry. Like, the intro especially is very Tetsuo. It's been a while since we looked at a Japanese horror movie, so I thought, hey, it's time to look at one again. I believe the last one we did was Grotesque, and even though it was sickening, I did really enjoy it. People were freaking out over this one on TikTok, which is not reliable. I've been disappointed many times looking at movies that TikTok comments, or at TikTok in general, is freaking out over. It's usually not actually that bad. So we are looking at Pinocchio 964. But first, if you are new here, hi, my name is STARGUTZZZ, and any crashing or loud noises or anything that you might hear in the background are my cats. And my movie reviews tend to be more of a discussion of elements that I think are prominent or things that I believe are good or or the things that I believe are good or bad about a movie, rather than just giving you like a play-by-play of everything that happens in it. So in other words, I try to remain as spoiler-free as possible, though spoilers can arise as they pertain to the discussion that I'm having with the movie. If you would like to watch Pinocchio 964 before the rest of this review, you can do so on our good friend Tubi TV. I feel like just about every movie that I have reviewed on this channel, you can watch on Tubi. You guys might as well sponsor me by now. Like, we are manifesting it. It is coming to us. Manifesting the love and light of Tubi TV sponsorship, whatever that might look like, I don't know. Anyway, you can watch it on Tubi, and I will provide a link in the description, so it is that much easier for you to go out and watch this movie. Not sponsored. We will be one day. I'm praying to the Christian God. And let's get right into this discussion of Pinocchio 964. After being abandoned by his owner for being insufficient in bed, a sex slave cyborg named Pinocchio 964 wanders the streets with his memory wiped. He's found and saved by a homeless manic pixie dream girl named Himiko, who finds Pinocchio and attempts teaching him how to speak. However, Pinocchio's story transforms from one of hopeful romance to hopeless tragedy after something happens to him. I don't know what the fuck happened to him. Something happens to him. I don't know. It's like a bunch of blood and a bunch of yellow stuff, and then it just, after that happens to him, the whole movie is one big tragedy. And everything that happens to Pinocchio, he doesn't even deserve. It's so sad. It's so sad to watch. Or at least it was sad for me. I got feelings of sadness because I didn't, what did he do? What did he do to deserve anything that happened in like a full hour of the movie? If you can't tell maybe from that description and, again, the title, this movie is filled with a lot of just, what the heck? What the heck is going on here? And even if I wanted to give you a play-by-play of everything that happens in this movie, I don't really know how I could. Because for a lot of it, you don't really have a clear understanding of what's happening. And there are a lot of people that like that, a lot of people that dislike that. Let's get into the discussion. I want to first highlight the initial disappointment that I had while watching this movie. When I very first sat down to watch Pinocchio 964, I was vibing with it, man. I was digging it. I was loving the story. I love the characters and the cinematography, which are things that I will get into on their own. But I was vibing with it. I was vibing with it up until about 35 minutes in. And after that 35-minute mark, what the fuck? The movie is an hour and a half long. And 35 minutes of it is this really great, strong setup. And the other hour of it, what? I was confused. I was frustrated. I was annoyed. I didn't know anything that was happening anymore, or like what relevance it had to an overall story. Now, I guess I'm gonna spoiler alert myself a little bit. After the second watch, I do feel like I was able to like fill in some of the missing pieces, but I want to express the initial disappointment because it's probably what a lot of people are going to feel the first time they watch the movie, because that's how I felt. And when I first watched it, it felt like the story, all of it was built up so well within the first 35 minutes, and I was really excited to see the direction this movie was going to go. I was really into it, and it builds up just for it to seem as though it gets abandoned for a bunch of just random, crazy, intense scenes that you're trying to figure out, you know, what huh? I'm sorry, but like, that's all, like, it's just. And it's all this outlandish craziness that feels like it's being crazy purely for the sake of being crazy and no other reason. Like, it on the first watch, it felt like the story got entirely thrown out the window after 35 minutes, and that it was just weird and crazy for the sake of it. Building up that bomb-ass cyberpunk narrative just for an hour of screaming and manic laughter. And listen, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I went one summer watching it just about every day on repeat as my background noise, and I'm sure my neighbors fucking loved me. I can handle some screaming, but oh my god, with this movie and the screaming. It feels like an hour of screaming and nothing else. Just an hour of screaming and nothing else. But my last point here for my initial disappointment is going to be a spoiler, so I'll put a timestamp up on the screen for when I'm finished talking about this. It's probably just going to be to the next chapter too, if you want to do that. But it is a spoiler for how, like, the story turns out. So if you haven't seen it yet, I suggest skipping this. Because it is a shock, but I was very disappointed. If you have already seen Pinocchio 964, I feel like maybe you have a guess as to what I'm about to bring up, and it's the fact that Himiko suddenly just turns evil. She just turns evil, like, very suddenly. When I first watched this movie, I couldn't wrap my head around why she's, like, suddenly this evil, manic, torturous person. Yes, I get that she's supposed to be, like, homeless and then somehow by extension crazy, right? I think I've seen it mentioned on, like, IMDb that she's also supposed to be crazy, and then something about her memory being wiped too, but, like, where's there evidence of that? I don't know. There's not a lot of talking going on in the movie. After the 35-minute mark that I am complaining about, Himiko suddenly becomes super evil and is, like, torturing Pinocchio and what I am assuming, like, pouring acid on him and, like, chaining him up. She becomes the most evil person in the movie, dude. This manic pixie dream girl who takes him in and, like, takes care of him. This thing that I don't even know I don't even know how to explain it to you, dude. He's just screaming and there's blood and yellow stuff and stuff growing on his body. I don't know what it happened. But after that happens is when Himiko starts going crazy. Now, I do have an interpretation that I feel after watching it a second time, and I could, you know, kind of start filling in some spaces that maybe I didn't understand the first time around. But I want to let you know the initial disappointment. God, why, Himiko, did you have to turn evil? I really didn't understand her change of attitude. I really hated it also. Like, it made me sick. It made me sick to my stomach the way that she treated and spoke to Pinocchio. And again, like I said, in a little bit here, I will share with you my interpretation that I feel I've gathered after watching it a second time. But I am letting you know some of my initial disappointments watching it the first time around, because that's what you're going to experience watching this the first time. Although I can't lie. Despite my annoyance and confusion and every negative feeling that I had about this movie, especially the first time that I watched it, I can't lie. I like how weird it is. I do enjoy how strange and weird and random the movie gets. The first time around, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing that feels like it's the main focus. The second time around, I feel like I could take some more things away from it, and then I could just enjoy the weirdness and the randomness for what it is. And I think I already touched on it a little bit, but I just want to squeeze in here the fact that this movie is gorgeous. I feel like I say that a lot, maybe, but I mean, like, this movie's so beautiful. The cinematography, the angles, the aesthetics, like, it really has down the cyberpunk kind of aesthetic that the 90s, early 2000s was going for. Everyone looks like a PS2 character. Everyone looks like a PS2 character. Or PS1, whatever. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. And the artistic direction for it is incredible. Some of the shots that they do they're my favorite, and I would have them as, like, desktop wallpapers. And so I do really like how it remains so thoughtfully beautiful and artistic while still doing this crazy, random, wild shit. There are so many weird random moments that I love in this movie, and I do see myself as being a person where, like, the more times I watch this, the more I think I might enjoy it and find some, you know, added appreciation for it. And listen, this movie kind of makes you feel like you're watching an episode of Fooly Cooly. If that gives you any kind of idea of, like, the weird random shit that goes on in it, It kind of feels like watching Fooly Cooly. It's very overdramatic. It's very out there and cartoonish, and especially as the film reaches its end, it just really goes all out there and becomes incredibly surreal. One of my very favorite weird things that happens in this movie that gets repeated throughout, like, I didn't even realize how repeated it gets until I was writing this review. The cherries. The fucking cherries, dude. I'm not using my good camera for this video, so maybe you couldn't tell, but I am wearing some cherry earrings for this review because of the cherries. Bro, the fucking cherries, the obsession with cherries, the things that happen with the cherries, everything about the cherries. And I love that it's something that it's a repeated thing throughout, like this focus on this bowl of cherries. And there might even be other elements of the movie that do this too, and this is the only thing that I've noticed so far in my 2 watches. And while I was writing this review, I had an epiphany. Tiny bit of a spoiler, I'll try not to be too specific about it. It has to do with one of the characters' deaths. Both times I watched it, I was so confused towards the end. One of the characters dies, and all of these little red balls come out of them when they die. And in my notes and everything, I have, like, what the fuck are these little red balls? Why aren't they just bleeding? Why are these little red balls coming out of these people? And it wasn't until I was writing the part about the cherries for the review that I realized what they are. They're the cherries. I'm sorry, but I love that, the continuation of that. I didn't realize that until I was writing it, and now I love the weird strangeness about these cherries even more. But overall, you're especially going to like Pinocchio 964 if you like gross out weirdness. Like, if you're really into gross, grotesque, grody things, anything that starts with a G, the weirdness here is definitely for you. But let me say, if you're sensitive to, oh, I don't know, like vomit, maybe don't watch this one. Or maybe utilize your fast forward button. And I do think the weirdness that this movie contains is definitely for a certain kind of audience. Not everyone is going to vibe with this movie. I definitely did not at first. Maybe, let's say, if you don't know what Fooly Cooly is, think like Eraserhead on meth. That's what this movie is. And while I like this brand of strangeness that Pinocchio has, I can definitely see how this is a polarizing film for audiences. Like, it's not going to be a kind of weirdness that everybody likes. But if you like gross out stuff, if you like grody stuff, if you like random Fooly Cooly kind of energy, I would recommend this movie. And now, okay, this... Remember when I mentioned all the screaming? How it's like an hour of screaming? This movie is so drawn out, and I feel like it's drawn out to kind of pad out time. It's an hour and a half, and it feels like if things weren't as drawn out as they were, if things weren't so unnecessarily long, this movie would probably only be an hour. Especially in the last third of the film, the movie gets so drawn out, so like one thing happens for such a long amount of time that it feels like a full hour is added to the watch time of this. And I felt it both times I watched it. It's only an hour and a half. It felt like 2.5 hours. Oh my god, I hate the last third of the film. I really fucking hate it. It's so slow, and you can tell that it's just that way so they could make it to an hour and a half. Hey, that's what I'm saying. That's what I see. That's what I feel. Why the fuck is all of that so long? And so much of it is just screaming. Like I said, I can take some screaming, man. I can take some screaming, but in this movie, the way that it's drawn out and how slow it gets, and how long one character does one action for, like several minutes. It feels like a full ass hour gets added on to the watch time of this film, and I am in misery. If I ever watch this movie again in the future, I am like cutting it. I'm cutting it at the last 30 minutes. I never want to watch the last 30 minutes again. It's too much. It's too much unnecessary shit. It takes too long to get to the point, and I'm gonna take my own advice. That's all I fucking have to say for this one. Get to the fucking point. Now, listen. I've been so busy this week. I don't even technically have the review, like, finished writing. I've stopped after that, and I still have my interpretation and the conclusion to get through. So if this part kind of gets a little jumbled, or if this part doesn't feel as put together as the other ones, that's why. I didn't even have time to finish writing this. I need to record and edit now, bitch. But my last thoughts that I want to share about this movie are the interpretations that I ended up getting after my second watch. As I suggested, I did start to have more of an understanding of what the narrative might be about the second time I watched it, and I think it's because now I'm over the initial reaction of it, that I can pay attention to more things and maybe even try to piece together what might be happening in this movie. Now, it is possible, I think this entire section I'm gonna classify as a spoiler because I'm going into detail about things that happen that are kind of spoiler worthy if you're, watching it the first time. It's just my interpretation. So if you are afraid of spoilers, continue on to the conclusion where I give my final thoughts and rating. Otherwise, if you don't care about that, or if you have seen Pinocchio 964 and you want to hear what I have to say, stay. Okay, so the second time I watched it, I did feel like I started to have a little bit more solid of an understanding of the story, especially after the 35 minutes. Now, my biggest gripe was Himiko turning evil. Like, that was the one thing I didn't understand above all else. So that's what I had to try and fill in the pieces about. And I think, it's kind of implied that she's a little bit crazy a few times in the beginning. Like, the introduction when her radio is, talking backwards and she's like, ugh. And the first time I watched it, listen, I did notice the fact that whenever the thing happens to Pinocchio and he knocks her back, she is going crazy. Initial watch, I thought, okay, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't really think that exactly anymore. This is kind of what I think instead, okay? You know what I realized is that Pinocchio is supposed to be a cyborg. Himiko does not know that. So she thinks that she's helping another homeless person. Turns out it's a cyborg. The cyborg starts freaking out. I assume whatever the yellow stuff is I don't know, supposed to be some kind of android fluid, like oil or something. I'm just assuming. I'm putting some pieces together. And so when he has his, android freak out, she doesn't know what's going on with this person that she thought was just a regular human being. I think just seeing what happens to him makes her snap, and then she sees him as a monster. I think, from what I can gather, I'm pretty sure that is why she turns evil. She just, this person she thinks is some normal homeless guy is leaking all these fluids and there's shit growing on him. And yeah, you can kind of see her snap in the movie. She starts manically laughing and freaking out. And I assume everything that happens after 35 minutes, especially with her, is because of whatever happened to Pinocchio. So now she sees him as a monster. Now she sees him as inhuman. And perhaps she's also supposed to be a little bit of a criminal, so I'm sure there was some kind of thought about money going through her head, especially because there were guys looking for him. So upon the second watch, I do feel like I can piece together some more understanding of why the story takes the turn that it does after 35 minutes. That doesn't change the fact of how immensely disappointed and how much I fucking hated it the first time I watched it. But I think this is definitely a movie that you need to give it more than one chance, because there's a lot going on in it, and the first time you watch it, you're kind of just soaking in what the hell even happened. And like I mentioned, it's a tragic story. That's what I gather from it, at least. It's a really tragic story, and it actually reminds me a lot of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Especially because it seems like in the last third of the film, as much as I fucking hate it, and as much as it's drawn out, I think the last third of the film especially showcases this same kind of theme or message like Frankenstein had, where it's like, you know, who's really the monster? Is it the humans or is it the creation? And towards this end, I mean, Pinocchio is just in pain. He's asking for help. He is crying and begging for help, and every single person around him just treats him like a monster. He hasn't even done anything. His only crime is not being erect. It definitely matches that same theming and messaging that Mary Shelley had, where, you know, the real monsters are the humans, and the monster or creation is more gentle and civilized than anyone else in the story. And, you know, I gotta say, when Pinocchio is running through all of the crowds screaming, like, yeah, that is kind of parallel imagery to Frankenstein, is it not? This is called Pinocchio 964. But I feel like comparing it to Frankenstein is a little bit more accurate. I think overall, my final thoughts are that this is far from a movie that's going to be for everyone. And I'm going to be honest, I think this really has literally been the weirdest movie I've ever seen. Like, I've never had such a reaction to the weird as I have with Pinocchio 964. I've seen a lot of weird stuff. I like a lot of weird stuff. I'm weird. But I've never had a movie weird me out like this. Like, this is a freaky, weird, random, and crazy movie. Now, if you don't like stuff that seems like, oh, random things are just happening for random sake, you might not like this movie. If you don't like a whole lot of screaming, you might not like this movie. If you don't like body horror, you might not like this movie. I think Pinocchio 964 is a very polarizing film. You're either going to 10 out of 10 love it, or fucking despise it and not understand why people love it. And I can see both perspectives. I can understand why there are these two categories of people. Like, I can see evidence for both. I understand. Because it is too drawn out. It is too long. I think there is a full 30 minutes of this that could just be cut. And like I said, my initial thoughts of this film were disappointment. I was very disappointed the first time I watched this, because it felt like it built up this really cool, interesting story just to abandon it for a bunch of random crazy scenes for the sake of being crazy. I get it. That's how I felt the first time I watched this. But if you consider ever giving it a second watch, I think that it would open a lot of doors to further understanding what's taking place in the story. Because, you know, you've already had the shock of the craziness out of the way. You know everything that's going to happen, so you can pay attention more to these, like, little details that are happening in the background, or perhaps very subtly through expression and behaviors, because the characters don't talk a whole lot. There's a lot of stuff going on with, like, facial expression and actions to convey what's supposed to be happening rather than just speaking. But if you really love the weird, if you love the crazy and outlandish, if you love things that are a little bit more artsy and you have to see a few times to really get a grasp of what you're looking at, then yeah, I recommend this movie to you. I honestly, after my second watch, I feel like this is a movie that I'm going to end up liking more as I watch it. Like I said, even with my initial disappointment, even with that disappointment, I still loved the weird stuff that was happening. Disappointed by it the first time, but I liked the brand of crazy that it was. You know what I mean? It definitely has all the elements there for me to eventually put it at a higher tier than what I do for right now. I just, you know, I gotta watch it more. I have to give it some more time, but I think the potential is there. But for right now, I am giving Pinocchio 964 a B tier. I'm gonna give it a B tier. I kind of really fought between B and C the first time I watched it, but after the second watch, when I kind of started understanding a little bit more what's going on and I could build my own interpretations of what's happening, I started to like it more. B feels right to me. I'm not cuckoo bananas like I would be for A, but I also hate it less than I initially did. If I had watched it the second time and I still felt that disappointment that I did the first time I watched it, this definitely would have gone into C. B tier for now. I do think it has the potential to maybe move up to A in the future. We'll see. I need to watch it more. And with that, even though, again, and with that, we are done with yet another movie review. I'm so sorry this week was a little bit lazy. Like I said, God, work has been so crazy. It's been so crazy, and I would rather get this up a little bit late, a little bit out of normal setup, than to not upload at all. So thank you so much if you ended up watching this video and watching until the very end. If you liked it, please make sure to stab that like button. It is a free and easy way to help support this channel, and I appreciate it very much. Also, if you just like this video so much that you want to hear me ramble about more B-movies and disturbing cinema or obscure movies, consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon so that you can be notified every time that I make a new upload, which I shoot for every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a review. But with how work's been lately, expect Saturday to be a possibility also. Last week I had to upload on Saturday. This week might end up being the same. Also, we have hit over 100 subscribers. I'm crazy over that. Like, thank you guys so much, everyone who's subscribed so far and like has helped to support this channel. It means the absolute world to me. I can't believe that there is now at the time of recording this 107 of you freaks that are enjoying these videos. Thank you so much for all the support that you've given me so far. I feel very grateful. Thank you. Also, if there is any movie that you would like to see reviewed on the channel, put it into the comments and maybe you will see me review it in the future. I like audience suggestions. I'm always looking for more movies to fill my calendar with, so comment away. I haven't gone live in a very long time, but I'm still going to plug the fact that I do have some live accounts and I would love to do more live streaming in the future if I ever get the time. I have the links up on the screen somewhere, and if I go live, I tend to try and do it around 6 or 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The days vary depending on what I work, and then somewhere on the screen are some more socials that you can find me at if you have the desire to do so. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. Our time is precious. We really don't have a whole lot of it, and the fact that you used your time to sit here and listen to me talk about the weirdest movie I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. Thank you. I really appreciate your time, and I just thank you for sitting down and watching this video. If I do not see you guys in a live stream, then I will see you in next week's video, but until then, have a good night and stay safe out there. Pinocchio.